Hello YouTube, this is Rapscallion. It's been a little while since I've had a video out, and I've had several Minecraft projects on the go. I'm happy to share one with you that I've finished here. You can see it behind me. This is my one wide tileable shulker box splitter. The first time I was introduced to this concept was watching Palapala's video and the shulker box splitter that he developed. I believe that came as a follow-up to the variable item filters that he used to unload shulker boxes previously to that design. I know that there are a few designs out there already that are probably a little bit more efficient than what I'm about to show you, but again, this is more an exercise of can it be done and show that we can split shulker boxes in a one wide tileable format. And just for fun, I also made it dustless as well and incorporated the dustless item filter that I'd shared in one of my previous videos. But before we get started with the shulker box splitter, let's take a look at the world download for the multi-item sorter version 4.2 tutorial. In this world, I hid an Easter egg for those eager to look for them, just below the build here of 3 coordinates in binary form, where the blue blocks are our 1s, the blacks are our 0s. And if we were to transcribe this binary code into a set of coordinates, you'll see that it reads out to 4000, 2048, and 1138. If we were to then teleport to those coordinates, 4000, 2048, and 1138, we would appear at this location here, which is way high up in the sky. So as long as we continue to drop down, which I believe we are doing at this point, yep, there's the ground in sight, you will come across a little bit of an Easter egg. You should see a command block. It is there. There are no buttons or anything on this command block. Let's go ahead and trigger it. And here we go. This generates a QR code, which, if captured using a camera on a cellular phone, will give you a code for a $5 credit at Amazon.com. I can tell you that someone did find this Easter egg pretty early on. The first individual to find it did not claim it. However, that code has since been claimed. So I'm happy to say that this one worked out, even though it didn't garner a lot of chat about the Easter egg itself. So let's go into a quick explanation of how this thing works. Let's first take a look at the shulker box that we'll be putting through as a demo for the system. So in this shulker box, we have 16 redstone dust, we have 16 block of redstone, 16 snowballs, and 1 powder snow bucket. These are spread out across different slots within the shulker box, but we're going to split them down into a single shulker output per item type, with the exception of unstackable items being sent elsewhere through the system. So this is your entry point here, this dropper line that you will have set over top of these hoppers. As these are opened up, it'll allow a shulker box to fall into it, triggering this comparator, pumping this piston up and down, and triggering the locking mechanism here. There's a little bit of a delay between actually locking this hopper to prevent other inputs coming in, so we have to run our dropper line on a 24 game tick clock so that we're not, backlogging this hopper and causing some problems. The same mechanism that's used to lock this hopper will also soft power the dispenser, which will then get block updated from this piston and this note block to then output the shulker box over top of this hopper. In the hopper, you'll see we've got an open slot 19, 1, 1, and 1. Of course, I would recommend naming these as blocker items that you'll never have going through the shulker box to begin with. As the box comes in, it also triggers this column here to unlock the hopper and allow items to start flowing out of the shulker box. And it also starts a clock that will capture the item switch between types as they're filtering through. So we'll actually get a pause between item types because of this clock, regardless of how many of those items there are within the box. This section here is the dustless item filter. It's slightly modified from what I shared in the past video, but works effectively the same way. This dropper is soft powered, and the signal strength change from this comparator updates it, allowing us to then unlock this hopper here. The delay between the signal strength change and the unlock allows 2 items to stack in this filter so that we get a constant flow of items through the hoppers below that. The dustless item filter also keeps this clock powered so that we only get a trigger when no items are continuing to flow through. The pause between item types is not enough to kill this signal to trigger this column to push back up and open things for the next shulker box. So as long as we're processing item types and there's items in the shulker to be filtered, then we don't push that column back up. Just below, we have a unstackable filter. So we're setting a signal strength of 2 here. If a non-stackable goes through this hopper, it'll increase the signal strength and the dispenser will catch and move it into this hopper over here. So all of your non-stackables will end up in this chain, and anything below will keep a constant flow through this hopper to trigger the first stage of the falling edge detector, so that once the flow stops between item types, we can then break this piston and dispense a new shulker box for the next item type. So every item type will be put into its own shulker box and dropped onto the ground here below. Once everything is empty, this column gets pushed back up. We get another trigger here that opens up the hopper, and it would break the shulker box that's sitting over top of this hopper and drops it into this one here. So we've got one output for our empty shulker, we have output for our unstackables, and all of our stackable items will be separated into shulker boxes below. So let's see how this thing actually works then. Shulker box is in, we're triggered and dispensed. You'll see in the filter then that we're grabbing the redstone dust, which was the first item type. We'll get a break. We had our unstackable, next item type being filtered. And again, it's going to pull all 16 that are in there regardless of the slot position. Then we have our 16 stackables moving through next. You'll see our shulker box will end up here as soon as that breaks. We've closed, and there's our shulker box. We should have our powder snow bucket here, as we do, and we will have 3 shulker boxes below. So we have our block of redstone, our snowballs, and our redstone dust. So we now have a 1-wide tileable dustless shulker box splitter. This command block is only used to regenerate empty shulkers into this hopper. You'll see in the scaled up system how that might work to dispense shulker boxes as each one gets consumed. So why don't we go look at this then in the scaled up version. Okay, so here's our scaled up model. I have 8 slices working together and 9 different shulker boxes with a variety of different items in them, either stackables, unstackables, or 16 stackables mixed throughout. We're going to put them through this 24 game tick clock. So we've got 1, 5, 6 redstone ticks, which is 12 game ticks on, 12 game ticks off for our 24 game tick clock. It'll trigger the dropper here to move them into this one and send them down the line. If every slice is assigned a shulker box already, we'll get an overflow to this water stream. It'll be re-input into the dropper clock here, and we'll follow the 24 game tick rule. As I enter the shulker boxes in, you'll see that each of the slices will get assigned here, and we'll start filtering out the first item in each slot, and it'll process just as we saw in the single slice over there. I have a command block here to generate empty shulkers above this perfect item aligner. Again, one of my designs in a previous video, so that we can feed the shulker box inputs here below as we dispense all the other ones out into this water stream. So everything will end up just right here. I have a non-stackable output. I have my empty shulker output, which that one's got stuff in it. So let's just kill all of this right now, and then we can see this thing start fresh. Okay, so we have our chest here filled with the various shulker boxes that we've already configured. You can see them in the chest there. So let's go ahead and plop that on top of this hopper. So you will see, and I'll get rid of this chest just in case, the shulker boxes coming into this dropper to be sent on that 24 game tick clock. And you see that they're each getting assigned to one of those slices. The next one will overflow. There it is there. It'll probably overflow again a second time. Oh, maybe it didn't. Maybe it got assigned. Oh, it did get assigned. Just happened to catch it as one of those shulker boxes was clearing. So we did one circle of that overflow box before it got assigned to a slice. And you'll see here that this is the perfect item aligner that I shared in one of my previous videos, and we're just taking the break signal from the boxes below to dispense an empty shulker box into whatever hopper here has an open slice. So we're still processing, but we should be able to see all of our empty shulker boxes ending up in this chest. We'll see all of our non-stackables ending up here, and our split shulker boxes ending up just down below. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these. So there, we've only got one item type per shulker box. You see that it's actually handled that pretty well. We got a few more that came through. Let's just double check those ones. One more. There's all our concrete powder. There's some yellow carpets. We've got other ones still coming through. Some yellow wool. And everything has been completed. So we've now reset. We could continue on splitting some other shulker boxes. But there's all of our empties. There's all of our non-stackables, and I've got all of our split shulker boxes in hand. Let's just go ahead and burn some of these items here. So there's probably some room for improvement on this, obviously. I don't think it's necessary that we're taking a separate output for the empty shulkers as we are for the non-stackables. I think those could be split further down the line and just handle everything through a non-stackable sorter in Slice. There's probably some opportunities to lock some hoppers here and maybe make things a little bit more compact. I wouldn't mind also trying to remove some of the toggle states that we have in here, but for the purposes of getting a working concept at one wide tileable, I think this is the best approach. We'll also do a quick test here to show how random input is handled. I have the random tick speed increased here so that we can get some shulker boxes placed over top of this hopper at odd intervals. I should note also that I've been running this with extreme behaviors on, so this thing, it looks like to be foolproof so far. So let's just run this through and we'll see. We got some randoms going through already. So let's just do a quick tick warp here again. And you'll see they do all get assigned, but we have no breaks from our random inputs. There you go, we're still processing some. These shulker boxes only have one item type in them, but it's just to show you that we don't get any breaks from having multiple slices assigned at odd intervals, as long as we're maintaining a 24 game tick clock. Some of this stuff seems to be just falling out there, so that looks to be all right. And yeah, so that is the one wide tileable dustless shulker box splitter, and I hope everyone has enjoyed. And thank you for sticking around to the end of the video if you happen to be one of the ones that stuck around. I do have to say that some of my time in between videos was also spent on doing the same type of Easter egg stuff that I've done in the past. I hope everyone enjoys. This time I'm looking to share a bit of the experience of some of the other games that I enjoy playing, and I'm sure that there's a fan base out there that will enjoy what I've put together for you. So please have a look through the world download. I'm hoping quite a few of you will have a good time with this one. Anyway, that's it. Again, thank you very much, YouTube, and have a great day.